whenever.
Hi, my name is Kristina, and my topic is about marketing tactics. Okay, so in the 19th century, retailers recognized that advertising was the route to customer awareness. Newspaper advertising and direct mail advertising, such as catalogs, they were used as a major tool for mass retail communication. In the 20th century, technology allowed for radio, TV to come into play, in which retailers could communicate with the mass market. Today, all media such as the internet, radio, TV, magazines, direct mail like catalogs, and outdoor advertising, they're all used to reach the consumer in an effort for retailers to promote their product. So according to Merriam-Webster, marketing is defined as the activities that are involved in making people aware of a company's products, making sure that the products are available to be bought. And a consumer is a person who buys the goods and services. So this further leads me to my main claim, which is the marketing tactics retailers use have a negative effect on its consumers. So my first secondary claim is that marketing tactics target consumers' buying motives. So basically, retailers use Maslow's hierarchy as a blueprint to further target consumers and set them in a bracket. So the first section is divided into 5 sections, and the first section is their physiological needs, which is their health and their food, and security needs, which is shelter and safety, social needs, which is their love and affection, esteem needs, and self-actualizing needs, which is achieving individual potential goals. So basically, they target them based on the esteem, the social, and the self-actualizing needs. So with this in mind, they can target how and what you're going to buy, and technology has made it really easy for them to do that, because now, the browsing patterns that you use when you browse the internet or whatever, it enhances retailers' ability to increase consumers' buying power. So according to Samuel Greengard, browsing patterns allow marketers to customize ads, promotions, and coupons. So that can either come in the direct mail, or when you click on something, it's automatically customizable to you. So this takes me to my next claim, which is marketing tactics expose consumers' personal information. Okay, so my first body of evidence is, it comes from Samuel Greengard's analysis, in which a Wisconsin man walked into Target and he asked why he was getting all these pregnancy ads, coupons, and baby clothes, promotions. So the manager didn't know why he was doing it, why he was getting those ads, and so they just left it at that until he found out that his daughter was pregnant. So Target had actually used sophisticated predictive database to determine that her previous buying patterns and behavior had indicated a high probability of her expecting a baby. So basically, if they don't get you on the internet, with your browsing patterns and your behaviors, they can get you in the store as well. And my ground 2 is once consumer makes a purchase in the store, the consumer is automatically exposed. For me, being a previous sales associate at Nordstrom's, once the transaction is ring, I can get your address, I can get your phone number, and I can get your email address and your purchase history. It's automatically saved into Nordstrom's database. I could call you, or I could do anything basically. Your information is exposed. You're basically exposed. So because you're saved into that specific retailer's database, they'll use anything to promote their product, and it's annoying and it's an invasion of your privacy. So my third claim is that marketing tactics further lead to shopping addiction and debt. So the marketing tactics that retailers convey, they appeal to consumers' wants and desires so much that they become addicted to that specific retailer's products. It could be anything. It could be towels, clothes, it could be anything, electronics. You can become addicted because of how they target you. So according to Heidi Hartson, hyper-stimulating marketing techniques contribute to the potentially addictive nature of shopping. So in conclusion, marketing tactics prove to have a negative effect, and going back to Maslow's hierarchy previously mentioned, they prove to actually hurt the consumer's security needs, their well-being, and their safety. And that's it.
All right, Kristina, the proposition's very clear. There's not really any layout of the contents in a preview, so casual listeners could easily get lost, although in the body of the speech, you go the opposite direction, and the signposting is very clear. So, you know, in the internal parts of the speech, I think you do a good job, but in the setup, you need to do a little bit more. The definition of marketing is okay, but I think it's less useful than a preview might have been in this particular situation. The first point doesn't really sound like an argument. It just sounds like an explanation about how marketing might work, but no inference is being drawn here. There's no demonstration that there is an effect, or that the effect that might exist is untoward or problematic in any way. It's just a description of how it is that people appeal to individuals' motives when they're trying to sell their products. The second point actually does make an inference, and I think that you've got a little bit of information here that suggests some problematic issues. I think the example, for instance, of the daughter being outed as being pregnant to her father, that's an interesting example of maybe privacy issues being skewed because of the research that is being done on consumer browsing patterns. I like that idea. By the way, you do need to give us a source citation on that story because it sounds pretty apocryphal, and I think you need to make sure that we can believe it, so be sure to source it in the presentation. You've got some personal examples of access to information, and I don't doubt that people get access to information when they're doing the retail sort of thing, but you know what? You open up the phone book, you get access to information too. So why is this information more problematic? You know, that the clerk at the Nordstrom's, or not the clerk, that's the inappropriate term, what would we say? The sales rep at Nordstrom's has access to my name, phone number, and email address. Why is that any different than people who have access to that by opening up the phone book or going on Google? You need to explain that they take that information. You say, and then they do direct marketing and they send it, they can do anything, and it's annoying. Well, what's annoying? What happens? Give me an example and show me that that's ubiquitous. So I buy a product at Nordstrom's. The next thing I know, I get a phone call 3 weeks later from Nordstrom's. Hey, we've got a sale going on. And then I get a flyer in the mail that says, hey, there's a sale going on. And then somebody pounds on the door and says, aren't you coming to Nordstrom's this week? That would be pretty damn annoying. But I don't know what it is that you're saying is problematic. And so I think it's kind of abstract. On the third point, you have a very clear signpost, but you start off basically with a hypothetical example, and then the quote that you have to support it is a little abstract. I don't know exactly what inference I should draw from that particular quote. I think you need to do a couple of things in terms of citing evidence and making inferences more clearly. You've described something, it's well structured, it sounds pretty reasonable, but I'm not sure that I feel like you've demonstrated that a problem exists or that some harm is occurring. I've got a speculative harm at best here, and that feels a little bit, like I said, underdeveloped as a consequence. The presentation mostly was pretty solid. I thought you did a good job. You need to raise your voice a little bit, especially at the beginning of the speech. And lose the Porky Pig exit.
Porky Pig exit, what's that?
That's all, folks. Which I warned you guys about.